Welcome to the Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Filmmaker Podcast, hosted by Charles Aline and Dr. Christopher C. Odom. On this episode, we speak with actor, filmmaker, educator, and biker Juan Gabriel Rambo Reynoso about making the best of what life gives you as an artist each and every day. This episode is sponsored by the Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival, which is dedicated to ensuring that Caribbean and Latino filmmakers have a voice that's heard and a wide audience to showcase their work. The Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival is the only combined Caribbean and Latino film festival that is Oscar qualifying for short films. Each year, Our Vision will screen the winners of the short film categories live in theaters on both coasts for 1 week as part of the requirements for Oscar consideration. Click the link in our profile now to submit your film to the next Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival to share your work, reach your audience, and turn your dreams into reality.
And I tell him, it's about blah, blah. And he's like, he goes, what's the budget? And I knew it. I said, it's about 40 million. And then that was it. And I remember 3 or 4 days later, he didn't talk to me for 4 days. We worked, he would talk to me in directions and all that. But then all of a sudden he turns to me 4 days later, goes, Rambo, no one's going to give you $40 million for a movie. He goes, you're nobody. And I didn't go, hey, who are you talking about? I'm not, I understood what he was saying. And he goes, what you need to do is write something that is that you could finance yourself, probably, that is not going to cost you a lot, that's going to showcase your directing skills, and then produce it yourself, and all of that. And I said, okay, I understand that. Life went on. And that's when when it slowed down, I started looking into. I tell people, you hang out with 5 people who do the same thing, you're gonna be the 6th person who does that. And all my friends were teachers. All my friends were teachers, and Charles knows most of them, and you're making the movies, and they're kid movies, so they're like, hey, my friend's in this movie, and no, he's not, and then they invite you over, you meet the kids, and before you know it, you're signing autographs. I'm like, oh my God, I'm signing autographs. Who would have thought? I'm doing career days, and the featured speaker, and my thing was the typical don't quit school, and I didn't really on it, but eventually the principals were telling, hey, you'd be great as a teacher. You should be a teacher. And I guess they brainwashed me into it. And I said, okay, I'm gonna be a teacher. I'm a teacher, and that went on, and I'm 23 years later, I'm teaching, and because the first principle was, why do you want to teach? You have a movie career. I said, I want to teach. I feel it. I want to do this. I could teach from September to June and make movies from June to September. And he's like, okay, I just want you to know. I go, no, I want to have my cake and eat it too. I see my friends, I respect them, and they inspire me, and I want to be like them. I want to be a teacher. And you go on and you make this project with somebody, you work on this project. And I remember Spielberg a year into my marriage. My first year is when I got an idea for a script in Mexico, and I wrote the script. That was in 1999. I was married in 98, and I wrote the screenplay and started saying, I'm going to make this movie. And I made that movie. By 2004, we were in Mexico with 25 cast and crew members from the United States. 17 were my former students. 5 had just graduated a week before they got on the plane. Wow. and 5 were African American, and in my hometown in Mexico, and there we are making this film that we finished shooting it. I produced it, I directed, I wrote it. It's stuck in some legal trouble that I sure have learned about it. I sure have learned my lesson, and it's not going to happen again. And you move on. I tell my kids, no, don't feel bad about that. It's a learning experience. I'm glad it happened with $250,000 than with $10 million. And I tell them that, it's not going to happen again. So anyway, fast forward, and I get this recent movie, La Leyenda Negra. I'm just a teacher there, and people always come in, because they hear about the program. And there's this film school student from UCLA, Patricia Vidal Delgado, comes in, and I hear about your program, and do you have a kid? I would like to work with a kid like this. And it was one of her short films, and I said, oh, Omar, you know Omar, Charles. Omar, you should work with Omar. He's a rapper. She was looking for a rapper. And I say, yeah. And then she comes over after she finishes that. Oh no! During the project, she goes, would you like? We need someone to play a police officer. And I'm like, sure, I'll help you. I would like to know what I look like in a police uniform. That was fun. I'm in a patrol car, and I look. I go, oh man, I look just like a cop, man. I was like, oh, this is fun. And again, I always say whatever I can do to help. I helped her with that. Then she goes, oh, I'm doing my thesis, my feature film. And I go, oh, what's it about? She tells me. And she goes, I want to include your kids to work on the film. I go, oh, cool. That's awesome. They'll love to help. Whatever we can do to help you, let's do it. We just helped you with, Omar just helped you. And then she meets the whole crew, and she falls in love with these kids, and immediately changes her mind. I don't want them to be in the crew. I want them to be the actors in the film.
Oh,
so okay. If you watch the film, all the kids in the film are my students. The lead role, the co-star, I became an extra, the dad of the lead character. And I told her, I'll help you. I don't mind. Again, money is fine, but if it means I could help this young lady fulfill her dreams and finish her film studies, and this film ended up in I almost said Cannes, Sundance Film Festival, and we were there for 9 days. We're there for 9 days, and it was a screening every day, and and I took these kids, these two kids with me. Sammy went, and Irlanda went. They were the top of the cast, and I just wanted them to experience that. I wanted them to experience that. We stayed in hotels, and I got them a room, and I got me a room, and I just want them. And I took off for 9 days from school, and this is right before COVID. I remember it had just started. Kobe passed away that weekend while we were there. So it was, we didn't know what COVID was, and it went on. We did the film festival, and, COVID hit, and then it got picked at another film, the Outfest here in LA. And here's where it comes full circle. So I hope I didn't waste your time. The Outfest that year, when we had our screening, they converted Calamigos Ranch into a drive-in theater. And I am now at a screening for a movie I'm acting in, that at a place that I started my film career. And I hope I didn't talk too long, but there's that full circle. And I told my wife, this is the place. And I told the kid, remember that story? This is the place. And I remember Sammy going, wow. I said, yeah. And I went to the road because I leaned up against the rock when I thought I was sleeping, and it wasn't there anymore. But oh my God, again, I'm the Mexican Forrest Gump. It was those things that let you know, I guess I'm doing the right thing. I guess I got these kids with me. They're my students, and they're experiencing what I've always experienced. But now they're witnessing me doing the things that I've always said I can do. And that's one of the things. One of the things I tell the kids, I actually do what I'm teaching you. I'm not just a teacher. And a lot of them learn that I do. It's fun when they come to school, and I don't tell them about my movies until they find them on their own. Mr. Reynoso, I just saw you. Oh, very good. Anyway, that's the show for today.
That's really incredible. But I just want to touch on a few things.
Sure.
Give me your experience once you get on the set of Kazaam, right? And you meet Shaq and you're doing it. How was rehearsal? How did you get into character? And just share your experience and Shaq and give us a rundown of your whole experience on that film.
First, if anyone ever says anything negative about Shaq, I will be the first to jump in and say they're completely wrong. One of the most genuine, I mean, if somebody has a different experience, I am sorry, but the person I know is a big kid. And I remember before I met him, we used to be, when he got his contract with the Orlando Magic, we were like, man, 80 million. We were sitting there, and I remember we were sitting in the gym at Compton College. And I remember, and I'm a comedian. I go, man, all that money. And he wasn't even 21 yet. I said, all that money, can't even buy him a 40 yet. Everybody laughed. And no, but getting into character with that, you're playing a bad guy. And those are always fun to play. Again, remember, this is my first acting role in front of the camera. And I come from the theater. And it just hit me about 5 years ago why everybody was reacting the way they were reacting. My scene, I wasn't acting for the camera. And I wish I could go back and do it right. Because Paul Michael Glazer, Shaq is there. We're rehearsing. He's 10 feet away because it's my close-up. And I'm from the theater. And the line is, this isn't a toy store, and I go, this isn't a toy store. He comes over. Paul Michael Glazer comes, no, bring it down. He said, as if you're telling a secret, as if you're, he directed me, and I go, and I'm the kind of person, I'll do what you're telling me to do. So the way I said, this isn't a toy store, when it was supposed to be. And now I know if I can do that scene again, this isn't a toy store,
Yeah.
Because he wanted my voice. He wanted that voice. But the audition was great, and it wasn't even that those lines. But remember, that character had no lines. He's just a bad guy's bodyguard. And I'm sitting there. We did the scene from the main bad guy, the boss. And I guess you could say I nailed it. And later on, you find out Diane Crittenden is the casting director. And it wasn't until I got to when they re-released Star Wars that I see her name up on the big screen as the casting director for Star Wars. I'm like, oh my God, and. She was pumped up about the audition. The callback, which I didn't know what that meant, was the same day. She goes, well, I'm not gonna wait. I'm giving you the callback now. I go, okay. I know the two words mean callback, but what does that? She goes, oh, you're going to this place, and the callback's over here. And she gave me the address, and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do there? She goes, the same thing you did here. You're just gonna do it in front of the director. I'm like, oh, I go, who's the director? She said, Paul Michael Glazer. And I immediately, my reactions, I'm a big Starsky and Hutch fan. So Starsky? And she like, yes, him. I'm like, oh, wow, I get to meet Starsky, And on the way over there, I'm thinking I'm improving the character. Let me, I'm going to do this right. I don't want to mess up for Starsky, I don't want to mess up for Paul. And I knew I knew his name, Paul Michael Glazer. And I get there and I do the scene. And I remember walking in, if you ever audition for anything, I'm sitting there, and we're all these henchmen looking guys are sitting there in the hallway, and in walks, I forget his name, but he played in Tombstone. He played Sheriff BN in Tombstone, and I apologize for not knowing his name. He walks in, and we all know who he is, and we're like, oh, great, he's got the part. Great. He's all buddy with Shaq. Oh, what's up, Shaq? Go, hey, my mom wants to meet you again. I go, Mom, remember him? And we're like, oh, great, he's got the part. And I didn't let that phase me. I'm from Compton. You don't scare me, man. I went in there and I did my thing. And I remember Paul looks at the director, said we have video on him. And she said, she's excited. Oh yeah, we do. And she said, okay. And I go, before I leave, you know, I go, I don't care. I just want you to know I've been a big fan of yours since I was a kid. You don't have to give me the part. I'm just glad I met you. You don't understand. I wanted to wear. I wanted that Gran Torino, you know,
Yeah.
as a kid. And he goes, okay. He goes, where are you from? I said, Compton. He goes, no. Where's your family? I go, I was born in Mexico. I'm Mexican. He goes, okay. He said, you know, you're playing an Arabic person. I said, I don't care. I'll do it. You know, and that was it. I left, and again, I got the part, and I got to meet Shaq again. Hey, how you doing, man? You know that voice. Hey, Rambo was. And the cool part is, you know, I had a motorcycle at the time and had broken down. And again, 1-800-COMMUTE. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get to the set. It was at the brewery right there off the 5 freeway. It's called the brewery. The brewery right across. The other side is the USC Medical Center, the General Hospital, and that's where the bus dropped me off. And I remember running. You know, I learned one thing: you can't be late, and on time is late. And I remember running off the bus, down the street, turning. I knew, you know, where I had to go, and I get to this alley where there's a barricade, big security guard, and I walk up. He goes, "Hey, Rambo, you're early." I'm like, "You know me?" I go, "You know who I am?" He's like, "Yeah, your picture's everywhere. They have your picture all over the place." I'm like, "Really?" You know, and then he gets on the radio, "Rambo's here," because I had Juan Rambo Reynoso on my headshot. Rambo's here. Okay, I'm on my way. This white girl comes over and "Hi, Rambo, I'm so and so." Oh, she goes, "I'm your assistant," and I'm like, "I got an assistant?" Oh man! And it was cool because she takes me to my trailer. I go, "I have a trailer, you know." And she goes, "Put your stuff there and let's go. You want to meet everybody?" So they're shooting a scene with Shaq. I go there, I run in. "Hey, how you doing, man? What's up, Rambo?" All that stuff. And Paul Michael Glazer, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, I'm still breathing hard from running. So, "Oh man, it's cool, blah, blah, blah." You know, I get to meet everybody. I went to make hair and makeup. Spinderella is there and the Brad is there. And they "Hey, Rambo." You know, I'm like, "Hey," you know, and I go in to make it. Everybody's headshot is up there. And I guess their job is to remember who you are and all that stuff. And then I remember, and this always gets people, is like, I finally get to go into my trailer. It's one of those little closet trailers, you know. I wasn't no big shot. And I sit there, take a deep breath, and I'm like, I made it. But it had a bigger meaning. I made it because I wasn't late, but now I made it. I'm in a movie, you know. And again, it was all that getting, you know, they're writing new scenes and taking other bad guys out the scene and putting you in front of the camera instead of that bad guy. And that bad guy being mad because that was his close-up, his scene. And, you know, and hey, don't get mad at me, man. I'm following what the director says. You know, I wasn't even, sometimes I'm not supposed to be on the set. I was on call or on hold. See, again, I don't know all the terminology anymore. I was on hold and they called me in 3 days after I was supposed to be gone for 2 weeks. And, "What are you doing here?" I don't know. They called me in and you know, that guy's mad because that was his scene. And I remember my manager was like, "Screw it. He's just going to have to be mad. This is business. And I learned that, you know, it's not personal, it's business. Whatever's going to help the production be a better production. I'm sorry, dude, but you don't look that intimidating as a bad guy, you know, and all of that is the character. It's always fun to play a bad guy, of course. I wouldn't know how to play a good guy, and that's why I took the part and I helped her with La Leyenda Negra because I played a dad. You know,
Oh, okay.
you know, I played this girl's stepdad, and it was that getting into that character and you know, basically I don't know if it was cheating, but it was real. She's like my daughter anyway, one of my students, you know. And the unfortunate thing is her real dad had just passed away 2 weeks before we started shooting
Oh,
in the Negra. And it was, you know, she's a strong kid. She's a strong kid, and I I hope they all continue in the industry, because they did very well for being kids that had never taken any formal theatrical training. You know, Patricia did a great job with them, and Sammy did good. The camera loves Sammy. You know, I told Sammy, dude, the camera loves you, man. You know, he didn't know what that meant. I said, I'll explain it to you later, you know, us experts, and let you know. But the whole character, it's harder. The difference between theater and film is, you know, theater is, you know, I remember, oh my God, brain fart. I remember Al Pacino talks about acting on stage and acting for the cameras. You're on a tightrope. On stage, you're on a tightrope. That tightrope is 1,000 feet up in the air, and there's no net. And on camera, the tightrope is 5 inches off the ground, and there's still a net and cushions, you know. And I go, oh yeah, that makes sense.
This episode is sponsored by the Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival, which is dedicated to ensuring that Caribbean and Latino filmmakers have a voice that's heard and a wide audience to showcase their work. The Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival is the only combined Caribbean and Latino film festival that is Oscar qualifying for short films. Each year, Our Vision will screen the winners of the short film categories live in theaters on both coasts for 1 week as part of the requirements for Oscar consideration. Click the link in our profile now to submit your film to the next Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival to share your work, reach your audience, and turn your dreams into reality.
But I tell kids when they want me to coach them in acting, you know, students on campus, and I tell them, I said, look, this camera stuff, this is my life. I love doing this, but acting, that's my soul. Do not waste my time. If I tell you, you got to do this exercise, you know, I'll turn into Mr. Miyagi, and you're going to have to paint the fence. You know, you're going to have to sand the floor. And I tell them, acting is my soul. I think I owe a lot of my soul to being on stage, because I love it. I was homeless all through high school. That's a different story. And then in college too. And I never felt better unless I was on stage. I was at home. That's my real home. And I remember I tell people, beginners, if you mess up a line, don't worry. If I'm on stage, I got your back. Ain't nothing gonna happen to you. I'm there. You know, I know how to improvise. I know my character. You know, it's just different in front of the camera. You know, cut. There's 1,000 people behind the camera. You know, you're dealing with a lot of stuff. And I mean, actors who are good at it, my hat is off. It may be easy, but it's not easy. You know, it's like you have to, you know what they say, you have to be private in public, you know, and I'm if anyone wants to give me another chance, I can act to the camera now, you know. I'm pretty good.
Well, what I really love with what you've shared with us
Thank you.
Today, Juan, is, you know, sometimes people can just be so tunnel vision, so focused. And with what you've shared with us is you have to be open to be very fluid and flexible to experience life as it happens, and to know, you know, whether you want to be a filmmaker or a fireman, somehow it all works out, how it's all connected. Somehow that's all going to bring you back to Calamigos Ranch.
Oh my God. And again, it wasn't planned. You know, again, I look at it, you know, Forrest Gump was always at the right place at the right time. I think when the universe is watching, the stars are aligning, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in your life. You know, there's two other guys that were good friends with me in the theater at Compton College. One of them is now the teacher at East LA College, the theater teacher there. Rodney Scott. You know, we're broke guys starving acting students at Compton College. It was a rainy day. The Santa Fe, the Jack in the Box on Santa Fe and Rosecrans were sitting there putting together coins to buy. Back then, now they call them sliders, but it was little chicken sandwiches that Jack in the Box came out with, 2 for 99 cents, but it's 3 of us and we only have $1.50. And I remember sitting there, and I guess we knew it and we could feel it. And I told them, I said, hey guys, we're doing everything we're supposed to do. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. And I always equated, if you ever played the games Free Cell, it's like solitary, but it's solitary on steroids. And you got all these cards, like a whole bunch of decks of cards, and you're moving your cards around. And as you're moving, you're playing like solitary, but in the middle of all that, you actually make one move that actually becomes the perfect move, and then everything falls into place. And that's the analogy I can draw, is that you playing Free Cell, your life is all over the place. But if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, one thing after the other, and doing it over and over and over and over, eventually, by the grace of God, the universe, something's going to click. Something's going to fall into place. And it may not be the answer to your whole life, but it's something that lets you know, okay, I'm in the right place. I'm doing, this is where I belong. Same thing with teaching. Kids say, and before that, I was also a good kicker in high school and college, and I was going to actually play for the Raiders. My mom's not going to see this, is she? I had a motorcycle accident and tore up my right knee. 2 weeks before training camp. I was going to go, walk on and play with the Raiders. And that was it. But
tomorrow tomorrow is never promised. I like the way that even at a very young age, you understood I have to make the most of the moment. I have to make the most of here and now.
Yeah.
And whether it was football, acting,
and I knew, it got as far as the deal memo. I was going to be a punter and a kicker, because that's what I've always done. And I'm like, oh, good. And I just had to show up and work out and train. And, of course, they were going to decide eventually. But I remember going home. Actually, I was doing stunts and my manager convinced me to go. I go, no, I'm getting ready to go to training. It's like, well, dude, come on. You don't leave for 2 weeks. You're going to love it. This is Bulletproof with Damon, Wayans, and Adam Sandler. I go, okay. I go, who's directing? She says, Ernest Dickerson. Is it? He used to do DP for Spike Lee. Yeah. That's him, right? I said, oh, heck yeah, I want to work, because I'm a big Spike Lee fan. I'm like, oh, I'm working with him. And I'm there. And I remember I looked at my car. It was raining that morning. I looked at my car and I looked at my motorcycle. I'm a biker for life. And I go, big old storm. I go, it's only down Alameda. I'll get there. And I did. I got there in the rain, and coming home, the railroad tracks, when you get to the 10 on Alameda, right under the 10 freeway, they go with the lane. They don't cross. And I remember the bike just threw me far. And that's another funny story, because and that's another thing. I made it funny. It's a comedy routine that I made out of something that would normally be tragic to somebody, But I remember one thing that night after I came back from the hospital. Luckily, nothing was broken. I tore my meniscus, which was probably coming anyway. I've been an athlete and doing martial arts forever. I had to make 3 phone calls. One to my agent, and one to the Raider people, and one to the second AD on the set. I'm not going to work. I'm done for the week, and again, life puts you where you're supposed to be, where you belong. And that catapulted and really sped up the process to be a teacher, and the kids go, hey, you don't regret? No, I don't regret it. I always know things happen for a reason. And I tell them, look, had I gone to play for the Raiders, which would have been great to everybody, that's a big dream, I probably would have fell in love with a cheerleader, married her. She probably would have took half my money after the divorce. Then I would have married another cheerleader. She would have took the other half. And I would have ended up back at Compton High coaching, being a broke coach, you know. But I think, and I think God is like, oh no, you're gonna do this, you know. And I go, if I had gone to teach to be a player, I wouldn't have become a teacher. You know, and that's tragic. Now that's a tragedy.
Yeah, it's the butterfly effect. Like I tell people, like, you know, you say, oh man, I wish I was a star. I said, but what if you were a star and you got a Lamborghini and you accidentally drove off Mulholland Drive, which somebody does every year?
Yeah. And then here's another one.
Know how everything connects.
And here's for everyone who's, I would have never ran into my wife. You know, I would have never ran into her. I was in town and I ran into her, you know, and from that day we started dating and we got married 2 years later and here we are 23 years later, you know. So all of this happened in the last 25 years, 25, 28. Kazaam has been 28 years, Charles. 28 years. Woo, you guys are getting old. But I mean, yeah, I don't regret things. I am a firm believer things happen for a reason. I don't dwell on why is this happening to the point, you know, not to woe is me type dwelling. It's like, okay, something's going on. I can't wait to find out why this is going on. Of course, the ultimate, why am I here? Why am I on this planet? And you know, I'm loving it. I just put on my seatbelt and I'm along for the ride because it's been. I have a buddy. He grew up in Watts. I grew up in Compton. He's a principal and I'm a teacher and I do what I do. And we sit there and we go golfing and our thing is like, who would have thunk it? We always say that. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought these two kids from the ghetto are sitting here golfing with all these multimillionaire guys? And you know, but we did it. We did it. We didn't, I don't let anything stop me. Once I'm determined to do something, I'm going to get it done. You know, I got this screenplay I want to get produced that I can't wait. Now, you know, Charles was telling me, turn it into a short film. I guess I'll turn it into a short film for now, but I just got to get that story needs to be told, not for me to make money, but I think we do these things. Those of us who do it, to inspire people and just like theater. I remember going the best thing in theater is when somebody comes over and goes, I was having a bad day. Thank you. And you go, wow, that's better than anything else. Thank you. You made me feel better today. And you go, whoa. And not just me, you know, the whole cast, you know, and that's awesome. And that's why we do it. So this story, hopefully I could get it in the can by next summer and
you know, media is so big now. You could do your story as a book. You could do it as a graphic novel. I even have a coworker who did his story as a TikTok web series, and he screened in like 28 festivals around the world as a TikTok series. I have a coworker who made her film for $500 with all stock footage. It looked super high end. Wow. She made it for $500 and she screened in festivals all around the world and won awards off of a $500 film.
And can I add, we have a film festival going on right now. If you guys are looking, submit a film. It's called
the R Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival.
Yeah.
It's the only Oscar qualifying short film festival for Caribbean and Latino films.
And that's where I'm going to submit mine when I'm done with it. And again, you know, I really want this story to be told. Not for me. Again, I've been, you know, everybody wants to tell their story. I don't. I never wanted to tell my story, but now that I've been a teacher for 23 years and we know about mental health and it's a big focus, you know, again, it goes back to who would have thunk it, who would have thought that these kids, Anthony Anderson, Niecy Nash was in school with me. I can't tell you her real name, and I just ran into another friend from that same Lanicia Jackson, Unique Jackson. She changed her name. She was touring with Luis Miguel and all these guys, and I thought I'd never see her again. Last time I saw her when we left junior high school, and she's been touring and all that. So they were great people that we were all going through some serious, man. I'm not saying we're the only ones, but now that's a big issue, mental health, I think this story needs to be told. And I've been writing it, and I should be done by Christmas with writing it and get it going. I could still.
We call it the Our Vision Film Festival, but it's really Your Vision Film Festival, because Our Vision is for artists like you, Juan, to come on and tell us about your story and the stories that you want to tell. Yeah,
well, I mean, our is perfect too, because we one love, man.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together, and the more we share our stories, I think it's about that one. And I tell them, I tell my students, you think you're unique going through whatever you're going through. Tell your story, and you're going to find that there are hundreds of thousands, and if not millions of kids going through what you're going through, and you're going to inspire them. You're going to teach them by the way they saw you succeed. And go, let me try that. That person, I see that person. That's me, And I tell that's how important this medium is we get to tell stories and hopefully change lives.
If your story just touches one person and changes their life, it's a success. All you need to do is reach one. Each one, reach one.
Yes. What I took away from this whole conversation with you, Juan, is that perseverance never fails. And I'm just listening to your story, man. I'm just so blown away that the commitment to following through what you believe in, what you dream about, is, it's absolutely awesome. And go ahead.
I mean, and I there's hundreds of stories I tell the kids. I used to walk down Hollywood and in Hollywood, passing out and knocking on doors and all that stuff. I remember I thought my feet were sweating. I walked so much, I thought my feet were sweating. And I remember getting home and man, the sweat hasn't stopped, and my socks are stuck to my feet. And it turns out I walked so much, the plant on my feet split open and I was bleeding. My socks were red from all the walking. And talk about walking, man, I got another one, but I don't know if you guys want to hear it. Are we out of time? It's just, I walked all the way from Studio City one time because I chose to eat a Big Mac because I hadn't eaten all day. Eat a Big Mac or catch the bus home.
Wow.
I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah. And Studio City at 5:30 p.m. all the way to Compton, man. I mean the different gangs I crossed in that distance is I watch the Warriors and go, yeah, right.
Oh my goodness. This has been an amazing conversation. And look, one last thing before we go. I know you get so much inspiration already, but like, let's say for a new person starting out, what one thing would you like to share, that they would keep it in their head, for the ups and downs that's to come in this industry? What's the one thing you want to give some, like an actor, even a filmmaker, some inspiration that they can hold on to? Words of wisdom.
Oh my God. I don't know if there's one single thing, but you hear it all the time. I tell people I'm a winner. I'm a winner. Why am I a winner? I don't quit. And you hear it all the time. If you quit, then you'll never know. If you quit, then you are guaranteed to fail. If you don't quit, be patient. It's going to happen. And maybe it doesn't happen the way you dreamed it would happen, but it's that door that opens up. And just as the analogy is, to be a teacher, I had to get my degree, So I was like, okay, I got 2 more years. I went and got my transcripts. Okay, I got 2 more years. And I remember I'm going to get my degree so I can teach. I don't need a degree for acting. I'm going to get a degree so I can teach. And that was my goal, get a degree so I can teach. And I remember getting holding my degree in my hands. And now I got acting and teaching, right? Those 2 paths. And all of a sudden, I remember looking at the degree and those 2 rows did this. And
Yes.
and I go, wait, I can do whatever I want to do, not because of the degree, but what I did. I proved to myself, and I tell the kids, when someone doubts you, don't do things to prove them wrong. Don't give them that much power. Do it to prove yourself right. Don't give those people that power. Let them, and I tell them, everything we do is really not that difficult. We learn how to operate the camera. We learn the process of producing. You got to do this, you got to do that. What's difficult in our journey is people, even especially the ones close to us, trying to shoot us down and mock us and ridicule us because, are you crazy? You want to do what? You want to be an actor? You want to be a filmmaker? Ha ha. If you let that's your first test. If you let that defeat you, then don't quit. And that's the hard part, is dealing with, sometimes it's your own family, unfortunately. I've been lucky, and none of my brothers and sisters, but, uncles. And again, the stories are long, you guys. We don't have the time, but it's that, that 12-year-old kid with his first camera for the weekend. And the uncle's like, oh, what are you doing? That's wrong. And like, I want to sit there with some of mine. Like, you almost killed that kid's dream. You almost killed that kid's dreams. Not me, Rambo, because I'm a different MFer, man. I'm a different since from then. But I remember I'm maybe not that different because I didn't let you stop me. You did not kill my dreams. Yes.
I appreciate you guys coming on. Chris, Annetta Stellar, co-hosting. Juan Reynoso Rambo. Thank
Rambo.
you. Rambo.
I mean, all my life. There it is. Rambo.
Really appreciate you coming on the show. Being as honest you were really being honest. And I love that. You came from the heart. I appreciate that. I want everyone to know that's what this show is about, from the heart. And I thank you for coming on. And we'll catch you guys next week.
This episode is sponsored by the Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival, which is dedicated to ensuring that Caribbean and Latino filmmakers have a voice that's heard and a wide audience to showcase their work. The Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival is the only combined Caribbean and Latino film festival that is Oscar qualifying for short films. Each year, Our Vision will screen the winners of the short film categories live in theaters on both coasts for 1 week as part of the requirements for Oscar consideration. Click the link in our profile now to submit your film to the next Our Vision Caribbean and Latino Film Festival to share your work, reach your audience, and turn your dreams into reality.